Creation's Journey to Life, Day 10, Relationship Dynamics. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the way of the world is the result of the nature of the accepted relationships that exist between person and person. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not realize that the dynamic of the world is the nature of the laws and the accepted systems, like the economic and educational systems, and the way that relationships are managed as to the equal distribution of that which have been given to life to be redistributed through the dominion ability of the human to take responsibility for the equality which have been bastardized in the name of fear and self-interest and greed. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not take a stand in how I live to bring to my own awareness that if I take instead of give, there will be a lack as the dynamic of a relationship of taking is based on winning and competition, while the dynamic of giving is based on the common sense of support and equality. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to not see that there is, in fact, enough life resources on earth, but that it is controlled through relationship laws that do not grant equal access for all unless the means of money is available. We even throw away the food that is in excess, as it may bring down prices and make its value less. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to separate morality from politics and economics and law based on the idea that somehow the market forces have a life of its own that do not follow moral values, although the only participant in relationship to market forces are the human and the greed of the human that use control to protect profit and will allow many to perish in the name of the human laws of politics, economics, and religion. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to refuse to be the dynamo in the image and likeness of life that functions and determines all relationships, that they may be based on what is best for all life. Instead, I whine and scream and blame, but would do nothing constructive that will in fact bring about change, because deep down, I wish to be one of those with all the control and all the money, because I believe I will be different when I get in power. Yet everyone virtually that was at one time still in the wishing stage of getting rich and had great ideals and even made pacts with God that when they get the chance and the money, they will change the world. But as soon as they get to power, the real nature that was in the secret mind came forward, and the intentions changed, justified by the premise that human nature can apparently not change. Yet the elite are the very example that they have not changed in spite of the promises they made to God and those still in the making seeking power in the name of their so-called benevolent intent. Know that unless you walk as we walk day by day in self-forgiveness, you will fall and just add another brick to the wall of elitism that keep the majority out and keep the minority in. This wall is money, and it is the real motivator of all relationships that will remain abusive in every way unless money is equality available for all. I forgive myself that I've accepted and allowed myself to not realize that my relationship with money is defining my reality and that the word real is in fact in the word relationship. Yet instead of me being a harbor for life, I am a parasite in the name of money, and I forgive myself that I have not been able to find the inner strength and steadfastness to bring sanity to the relationships on earth through which I have defined life. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to ignore the fact that only relationships as the parts played by the participants as people determine the total nature of life on earth at this stage. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to believe that life on earth is a dynamic that I, as individual, can do nothing about, and thus I have given up on the possibility of change. And yet I will refuse to be part of a solution just because it must be a group and insist on my individuality as foundational to my existence, in spite of being aware that that place me in total disempowerment and complete inability to change the world to what is best for all. I have even created a new religion to pacify me even further into not being part of a group to change through claiming that only through self-change of the individual can world change be achieved. Yet this self-change I propose disregard the true nature of reality, which is based on a group managed by relationships. And so I have screwed me and my world into cycles of abusive and destructive outcomes ever since the first master of individuality graved the world. I forgive myself that I have accepted and allowed myself to engrave the nature of individuality as ego and self-interest so effectively into my body that only at death I am erased forever, forevermore, when that which is life as the body are released from the parasite of individuality so that the body can return home. I commit myself to ensure that the nature of all relationships on earth be transformed to reflect the nature of life as the one and only group that actually exists, and to make sure that the realization is clear that separation and individuality based on the illusion that it is more than life is only an illusion that is temporary, while life is eternal and can never die, yet life will change form. And this form currently is the physical, and the illusion is the energy taken from the physical to be abused as power play, just like oil is taken from the earth to abuse. The human individual is no different to the corporate individual when it comes to the relationship with abuse as energy. And just like oil, life is a non-renewable source because once denied, it can never be given again. I commit myself to bring into being the nature of life as the nature of law in all spheres of life, that life will be supported equally as one, and all relationships will be the dynamo of life and true dominion of earth. I commit myself to give my life to bring life to earth as I understand. I cannot receive what I am not willing to give. My giving must be reflected in every relationship where I must give, regardless of how it will be perceived by the ego. After all, the truth hurts, and only those that hurts the ego will give the person possessed by ego a chance to shake off the parasites of self-interest. I commit myself to restore common sense to earth that the relationship with food can become one of life where the human can understand that food is in fact also an expression of life form on earth that reach its happiness through its giving of itself that we may live. I commit myself to establish as morality on earth the only dynamic that will stand the test of time and thus be the way to eternity, which is the morality of life as equal in each one. I commit myself to bring an end to the insanity of greed, self-interest as market forces through the common sense presentation of that which is life, through the cooperation of all living beings in all ways, till all that have abused dominion have been brought to face themselves in self-forgiveness, and to not give up till this is done in every way. I commit myself to bring to book all those that made pacts with God to face what they have allowed in their secret mind so that they can keep their word and in fact take part in the change of the world to what is best for all life. I commit myself to the process of correction of the relationship dynamics that make the world functions through an equal money system, as that will give each being a chance to fulfill their desires that was based on money. And in this way, we will heal our addiction to illusions made visible so that we may choose life forevermore. I commit myself to life as the only relationship possible because it is the only relationship that is real. Only life can give life, and one should honor the dust as it is your very flesh. I commit myself to be in the face of the lost until they lose it, and through such outbursts may have a moment within which they may realize what is real and begin the process back to self as life individualized as equal in the group as life. I commit myself to blow the minds of those who have engraved death into them as ego and self-interest and individuality so that they may yet wake up to what is really here as life as the physical.